Well, good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Highwayman Trucking and My Way on the Highway. Decided to make a little informational video here. It's not necessarily geared towards truckers. For truckers, this is going to be preaching to the choir. Y'all know this, you've experienced this, but kind of just to the general public, non-trucking public, I guess. Just a little idea of, to give you a little idea rather, of a day in the life of trucking and some things that people don't typically realize or understand when you're not in the trucking world. Believe me, I know I've been behind those trucks that are taking time to get up to speed or going up a hill or whatever, and it's a pain in the butt. It's one of those things that drives us all nuts, whether you're in trucking or not. But just wanted to share with you the kind of days that we have. I did a little video and a rant about my whole dilemma loading Wednesday. And Wednesday wound up being about a 12-hour work day. Not a drive day, but just a 12-hour work day in general. Sitting around, waiting to get loaded, going to a different location, partially getting loaded, getting the load taken off, going back to the original spot, loading, tarping, etc., traffic. So it's about a 12-hour work day. And then I shut down, spent the night at my house, and was off duty right at about 10 hours. So 10 hours home. And that's 10 hours of home. You know, I don't know about you, but it always takes me a few hours to settle down after a long day. I don't know anybody that gets off work and goes immediately to sleep in the next 5 minutes. So you figure you get home and get cleaned up and you have dinner, maybe watch a little TV, relax, what have you. And so my day started yesterday, Thursday, and I drove 757 miles, and it was all legal, and it was the most miles I've legally done since we went to electronic logs 2 years ago, whatever it's been. Used to be we had paper logs, and like every driver, we change our logs to meet our needs. And so anyhow, there's electronic logs now. You can't change it. It is what it is. It's an app that I have on my phone, and it's a third party that I pay, and they keep track of my logs. I can't change it any way, shape, or form. It is what it is. So I drove 757 miles, and that's from my front door in Mesa, Arizona, to just a little east of Midland, Texas. And when you're on an adventure in a car, it's real easy to pull off at this gas station or that service station and get something to eat, or get gasoline, or, you know, stop and stretch your legs, whatever you need to do. Yesterday, I drove, let's see, I did not stop from the time I left Mesa, Arizona until I got to Lordsburg, New Mexico, about a 4-hour trip. And I stopped, I went to the restroom real quick. I was in and out a total of 10 minutes. I had stopped for 10 minutes. And then I continued on until I got to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And it's another 150 miles or so. I stopped, went to the restroom again, had to take a 30-minute break as required by law. And I used that 30 minutes to put my stuff away in my truck, make my bed, that kind of stuff, prepare for the trip, because I had loaded in a hurry, and I needed to organize things. So that was my 30-minute break. I then drove from Las Cruces, New Mexico to Van Horn, Texas, which, that's about another 150 miles or so. And stopped just long enough to go to the restroom and grab a drink, another 10-minute stop at most, and got on down the road, got a couple of 100 miles up to Midland, and I pulled off on the side of the road for the night to sleep. And that was my day. That was 757 miles in a 14-hour work period. 11 hours of driving with a 30-minute break and 2 10, 15-minute stops. Now, I was in a hurry yesterday for a number of reasons. And people say, well, why can't you just slow down and relax? And trucking doesn't work that way. I had to make as many miles as possible and get as far as possible in order to deliver this load today. And that means not stopping to take time to sit down and eat, not stopping to take a shower. And those are things that happen to truck drivers on a daily basis. And people don't ever really think about it unless you happen to know someone in the trucking world. But can you imagine working a 14-hour day and not even getting to take a shower at the end of that night? And then having to be up and started again 10 hours later. So we stopped last night, did my 10-hour reset, I made myself something to eat, and I basically brushed my teeth and went to bed. Started this morning, and I had about 650 miles to go today, and I hit a ton of traffic. I stopped once to top off my fuel in Weatherford, Texas, and stopped again just north of Dallas for 10 minutes, only because I had to use the restroom and wanted to get a cup of coffee. Pretty tired today. Just, a lot of hustle and bustle, and I need to get my load delivered. Fortunately, it's a regular customer, and I'm delivering to his ranch in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Because of traffic I hit in Fort Worth and Dallas, I'm about an hour behind schedule. So my delivery is going to be at about 5 p.m. Typically, it takes him anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to get the load off my truck and trailer. And in that time, I've got to hustle, get unstrapped, get my tarps off. And for people that don't know what trucking tarps are, these big 8-foot drop tarps that I have on my truck, I'll show you a picture of later, are about 130 pounds a piece. They are not light, they are not pliable, they are stubborn, pain in the butt, any and every time you got to use them. It's a little nicer when it's warmer, simply because they're not as rigid as when, for example, if it's snowing or raining. But so I've got to hustle up, get all that done while he's offloading. I've got to print out an invoice to give him. And as soon as he's done, I have about 120 mile deadhead, which it means running empty, to get to Broken Bow, Oklahoma. And I need to be there no later than 10 o'clock to get loaded for my backhaul, which goes back to Arizona. Now, if I don't make it by 10 o'clock, I can be charged a fine from the broker because I didn't pick up the load at the said time. This particular company is closed Saturdays and Sundays, so that would mean I couldn't pick up till Monday. So I would sit Saturday, Sunday, not making any revenue, be a couple of days behind schedule, and that's just a bad thing. So I've got to get there, get loaded tonight, and then immediately shut down and go to sleep. And it will be again without a shower. 2 days without a shower. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that might sound like no big deal, but there's not too many other jobs out there in a first world country where that happens. And it just is what it is. So tonight will be a baby wipe bath, essentially, and brush my teeth and go to bed. And then, Lord willing, I get loaded. And tomorrow, at some point, once I'm driving, I'll be able to stop and take a few minutes and take an hour break and take a shower or whatnot. But I need to make good time getting back because I have to deliver this load I'm going to pick up tonight, Monday morning at 8 o'clock in Glendale, Arizona. So it's constant hustle. It's not that we just get in this truck and we lollygag on down the road. There's schedules, and when you miss a schedule or are a couple hours late, it might not seem like a big deal, but that couple of hours can affect your entire next week. And it can affect you in the sense that you may have to pay the broker, $150, $200, whatever their fee is for truck not used if you miss the load. And then it's going to make you late to your next load, your next load, your next load, your next load. And a flat tire can do the same thing. It can put you out. And people don't understand. They see the truck driver on the side of the road, and I think, well, sorry about his luck. But I see it and I go, man, that sucks for that poor guy. I hope his day gets better, because I realize on top of that, several $100s to have that tire changed, I realize what it can do to his entire week. Maybe he's trying to get home for his kid's high school graduation, or, grandchild's birth, or whatever. I mean, it really does affect your life out here. And it's just a different world. And to those of you in the trucking business, like I said, I know I'm preaching to the choir. You all know, you've experienced it. But just kind of telling the average person what we go through on a day-to-day basis. And I guess, just think twice before you call that trucker an a-hole when he's slowing you down or cuts you off or what have you. Most of us out here are trying to hustle, make a living, take care of our families. And we're gone. We're gone a lot, This trip here, fortunately, will be, there and back in about 5 days. That's unusual for me. Usually I'm gone 2 to 3 weeks at a time every time. And it's just how it works. So, just food for thought, little information. And as I think of things, I'll try and share them with you just to give you a little insight into our world. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.